Baltimore and R Brown Convention Center. The Browns, the R stands for?
Rufus.
Rufus, we had to look
I
that up.
didn't know
yeah,
that.
well, we see George R. Brown. I'm like, what's the R? Randy Grimes is here, longtime NFLer, and of course played for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and joins us every year to talk about your journey. And it's always one of the more compelling segments. You got your wife this time. I mean, you're usually bringing me by an old broken-down football player. Instead, a surviving 35-year wife of an NFL player. But, your story is, and I'm starting to find more CTE stories and that sort of thing, as we've had 21 years of the Ravens in Baltimore. This post-player care issue, CTE's been brought to the forefront in the movie and all that, but then there's just the whole adjustment to life that you found to be an incredible struggle, and you find these still young men. I mean, you've come by with a variety of different players that you've tried to help down in your facility in Florida. Just update me. It's been 52 weeks. What's going on? Why is your beautiful wife here other than to make the screen prettier here at YouTube?
Well, I mean, CTE is going to always be an issue, especially one that's come to the forefront lately. But, it's what guys do to self-medicate that CTE and that chronic pain that they leave the game with. And guys get in trouble because of that. The
first thing they give you is a drug, right?
Exactly.
And then you take it for a little while, then you need it, then you have to have it, then you need more of it, right?
And then you can't stop taking it, because that monkey gets on your back. And it's a deep, dark place that it takes you because there really is no hope in sight. Or that's what you think, because I know for many years I didn't think there was any hope.
This game's about pain. This game's about physical pain.
It is about pain.
And when you're around it as much as we are, you see that, and then what do you do on the backside? We've had a lot of guys doing the medicinal marijuana thing now, players that are just out of the league, the Ricky Williams, Eugene Monroe, who spent a lot of time with us, is now hardcore into that scene in California and Colorado. That's another thing that, you guys were in your era smoking it on the side and trying to feel better on Monday or Tuesday, right?
Absolutely. And back in my day when we were even thinking about doing that, it's not the same pot that's out there now. That stuff that's out there now is, genetically modified. It's really some serious stuff.
It's the real deal.
And that's not a solution either, because you will eventually be a prisoner to that as well. Guys are self-medicating. They're in chronic pain. We have that warrior mentality where we don't reach out for help. We think that we've got it under control. We isolate. We have self-worth issues. And I'm talking about after the game. Self-worth, identity issues, and we self-medicate over all that. You combine all that, and it creates a huge problem. And that's why this is my 8th year in a row of coming around and saying that to the guys out there that are isolating, that are having this issue of addiction, whether it's, for me, it was pain pills or alcohol, whatever they're doing to self-medicate, there is resources out there. There's the Player Care Foundation. There's the Alumni Association. There's the Players Association. There is help. You just have to pick up that 800-pound telephone, that's the hardest thing.
Give me your pathway, and obviously you've been married. First time I met Lydia, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
It's always lovely to get the wise on. You guys so she was obviously involved with this during your play.
She lived through all of it. She's the one that saw all the damage. She's the one that had to live in all that pain and destruction that I caused. But we've also know that when families get well, addicts and alcoholics get well. When families get to that place to where they're setting healthy boundaries and consequences for this behavior, and they get their lives back and stop being enablers and codependent and prisoners to somebody's addiction, we know that the addict gets well. So that's why Lydia's here. Usually, I'm dragging guys around that we've been able to help.
How are some of your guys doing?
We're doing great.
Everybody?
All of them. All of them.
All right, because I
Which
literally.
Is really unusual.
Sometimes I got NFL films on, and I'll see, a former quarterback, that you've had here, and good times and bad times, and I wonder, I don't know that I would get a report if things weren't going well. And you've opened a whole facility. Give everybody your background. And Lydia, feel free to jump in. You played with 13 years in the league.
10.
10 years in the league. Okay.
All with Tampa Bay.
All with Tampa Bay. And
5 head coaches, 6 offensive line coaches in 10 years.
How many wins?
We were a revolving door. I can count on this hand how many wins. No, actually, my best year was 6-10. So that ought to tell you something.
Okay. Well, through all of that, you're done playing. Where does rock bottom come for a guy that gets I guess you were 32, 33, beaten up, spit out of the league, right? And then what happens after? That was what, 92, 93 in that
93 is when I left. I left the game with an addiction. Of course, back then I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it, or I justified it as a way to stay in the league as long as I could, stay out on the field.
You're thinking at that point, you weren't a guy that spent 5 minutes in the league. You were a guy that hung around long enough. You made some money and all. It might have been gone, but you made it, right?
And that my injuries were going to get better instead of worse. You know, they just got worse with time. My addiction got worse with time because I was just taking more. There was never enough. And you know what? It didn't matter how many jobs I lost or cars I lost or how many times she would, threaten to leave me, or my relationships would be damaged. No matter how many times all that happened, I couldn't stop doing what I was doing. And that's the insanity of this disease, and that's what we put our families through, and that's what she lived through. And
well, I think for anyone on the outside that would say, all right, you're here, you look good, you feel good, I'm assuming you're clean, you look like you – where is that magic moment? Everyone's looking for – and it always comes from within. I mean, it wasn't her that did it. You know what I mean? At the end, it's you deciding to do it that way. How long did this go on for you personally?
Well, it went on for me for over 20 years, and I went to a couple other treatment centers, and I didn't get it. I always walked out of there with those same injuries that I walked in for, and I would justify starting up that addiction again because these injuries were still there. And what was rock bottom for me? Believe me, I had a lot of rock bottoms, and they all had trap doors to them. There was always further down I could go than I thought. But, I had to get to that place to where I'd lost everything. She had moved out on me, and rightfully so. It was about time that really got my attention. And we had sold the house and everything, and I was sleeping on the floor of a vacant house. But I needed to get to that place where my daughter wouldn't let me see my first grandson and her first child. And, I had to get to that place where I had lost everything, and I get completely surrendered and broken. And I finally got this. I was finally desperate,
What helped you? What did you find? What person, what thing pulled you out? Because obviously it's not only just for you, but you've now been doing this for a decade of helping the other version of you, right? I mean, you recognize this when you see it, you've helped people.
Well, and I had this moment. I had this moment in treatment. It was exactly 2 weeks into the process. I was sitting outside at a picnic table at 8:45 in the morning. It was on a Wednesday, and I used to get up and write every morning because it made me feel better. And I don't know why, because I'm not a writer, but I would just get up and
therapy.
I
am a writer. It's therapy. It's trust me. I write for no one. I write for an audience of me.
It was like it was like I needed to put down my thoughts and what I was going through. And this particular morning, I was sobbing uncontrollably. I just couldn't stop. I remember thinking that if this is what being sober is all about, I don't have any part of it because, I was having all kinds of emotions and feelings, and a lot of what I had put my family through was coming back on me, and I had to deal with all this sober for once in my life. And it was like I had this burning bush moment, It was like I felt somebody come up behind me and put like a warm quilt on my shoulders, and I say quilt because I remember feeling weight on my shoulders, and it was like the obsession to use was lifted off me right then. That was my burning bush moment, my come to Jesus moment, where it all was clear what I was supposed to do, what this whole addiction had caused, and how I should get out and help my brothers.
Now, your facility's in the East Coast of Florida, right?
Yeah, West Palm Beach, Florida.
West Palm Beach. Mm-hmm. And tell me about your facility.
Behavioral health of the Palm Beaches. We've been working with the Player Care Foundation, the Alumni Association. We work with the Players Association. We
obviously
also work
anonymously, right? When somebody comes to your place, you're not here.
Right. Unless they want to be dragged around here like we've done before. And we also worked with Major League Baseball's helping retired guys, getting the word out that there are resources available if you're suffering with any kind of addiction and mental health issues. We're also ACA licensed, so we can handle a lot of the mental health issues that players have.
Tell everybody how to find you if they need to find you on the internet just to get a little inspiration.
Behavioral Health of the Palm Beaches is the name of the facility, bhpalmbeach.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Athletes in Recovery. But go to the website. Everything is on there.
How many guys have you met that played the game that are doing the kind of work you're doing. I mean, I'll give you an example. And this guy wasn't a contemporary of yours, but Joe Ehrman in Baltimore, right? Joe's a minister. Joe lived hard early, lost his brother in the 70s, and was from Buffalo. Been in Baltimore 35 years. First guy I ever got an autograph from when I was a kid, 1976 with the Colts. And he does incredible ministry work, but not, and I'm sure through his work he's seen many addictions. But from a player's perspective, I haven't met a whole lot of guys that are doing what you're doing, that move into that space, that this is the thing they decide to do when they're done with football, is to help people who had the same addictions they had.
And especially in the NFL. I mean, basketball, you've got the John Lucases. Baseball, you got Darryl Strawberry, and you've got other people in those two fields. So, this is a great opportunity for us. The main thing is that these guys that are out there know that there are resources available. And that's why for the 8th year in a row, believe it or not, there's guys that don't realize that the Player Care Foundation exists and that they'll help them financially. They'll help them with these substance abuse issues. It's available, but you got to reach out.
Randy Grimes from Tampa and via West Palm with his beautiful wife, Lydia, here. And you watching the game? You going to the game?
We'll be around.
We're all trying to get the Patriots beaten. I know
Tom's why is everybody a hater?
Because they cheat.
They don't cheat. What? Tell me what they cheated doing.
Well, they had a guy in a tree with a video camera. Other than that.
Come on. Listen, and the deflate gate. Come on, quarterbacks have been doing that for years. Managers have been working on balls all weekend.
It's gamesmanship, right?
It's you do what you have to do.
They put Gaylord Perry in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I guess cheating's cheating,
right. But, the game hadn't changed. Maybe the way that
he's pretty good, though. You got to admit that. Brady.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean,
he's okay.
Belichick's okay,
this
too,
is
right?
really, for you played this game for so long, trying to win, and that organization trying to win. Just one playoff game, 10-6. They make it look effortless. I mean,
exactly.
It really. I mean, and obviously it's a credit to Belichick and sort of the genius of him, but also that he's not afraid to cheat.
Is it cheating or doing what you got to do, right?
See, when it's being done to you, it's cheating.
No, well.
Yeah, right? I mean, it is.
I think people just love to hate because they're just so dadgum good. They do everything right. They're consistent. They're comfortable in the tough situation. As an offensive lineman, a center, I would love to come back to the huddle and have somebody like Tom Brady there, because I know everything's under control. Nobody's overreacting. The game's going to go great, and he's in control. I would love that. It would make my job easier. So I guarantee you the other 10 guys that are out there with him feel the same way.
Now,
they know he's
with
in
Vinny,
charge.
right? Vinny was
Vinny, last 4 years.
Yeah, well, Vinny was our first quarterback in Baltimore when he got down, and there's a guy there that had some longevity that really did some amazing things toward the end.
Right.
But he gets to Tampa and they're putting billboards up that he's colorblind.
He was colorblind.
But he was also, really kicked around as psychologically as a young guy in that team, right? I mean.
Well, he came in. I mean, that was a tough situation. He had always had the tools. But
Tom Brady was a guy that nobody thought had the tools, which is why he was in the 6th round, right?
But he was an overachiever,
Still is.
Still is, right.
It's amazing. Randy Grimes is here for the Tampa Bay Bucks, doing great stuff down in West Palm. You can check him out. Behavioral Health of the Palm Beaches. Damn, I'm getting old, man. I got these reading glasses.
We've got them.
And I can't see a thing,
I'm glad you have to do the reading.
Yeah, well, there you go. Certified interventionist. I didn't call you. That's a great title. A certified interventionist.
We go all over the country. We drag them back in, yeah.
I'm going to come up with some fancy title for myself like that. I'm going to call it certified something.
If you ever come home and we're all sitting in the living room waiting on you,
certified
ready,
anarchy.
Okay?
Randy Grimes joining us here with his beautiful wife, Lydia. Luke is here as well. We're down on Radio Row here. Super Bowl 51 in Houston, Texas at the George R. Brown. The R is for Rufus. Makes me think of Shaka Khan. But you can also email me, nasty@WNST.net. We're on Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and everywhere you are, we are at WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.